for the last month, we've been tracking the decline of Google search across the entire web. And the thesis has been that AI is eating the search results and text-based publishers are kind of suffocating across the internet, like traditional, good old-fashioned websites, right? The phrase that I have used to describe this is Google Zero, inspired by the editor-in-chief of The Verge, Nilay Patel, who coined that term. And this week, we kind of got the ultimate scary case study about what's happening across the web. And I think that there's some lessons for creators in it as well. So here's context. Are you guys familiar with RTings.com, RTings.com?
No.
They kind of are like the ultimate consumer reports. They sort of are like a nerdier version of the Wirecutter, if you guys are familiar with the Wirecutter. And what they do is they're kind of the gold standard for independent, highly technical reviews of things like TVs, monitors, headphones. I think they do like vacuum cleaners and stuff too. They buy all their own products to avoid bias. And this week, Ratings just announced a massive change to their model, which is that they're putting all of their test data behind a hard paywall on their website. They're no longer giving it away for free, which they've done since their inception. And so they made a video about this, and this is what they had to say.
For years, the internet worked in a relatively simple way. Independent sites invested in original research, and search engines sent people to that research. So if you created something genuinely useful, you were rewarded with traffic to support your work. Today, when you search for something like Best TV, you might see an AI overview and sponsored results and then product listings. Organic search results are pushed far down. Even when a site ranks first organically, fewer people actually reach it. And that's if you are lucky and the first organic result is actually good. Recently, AI summaries have increased this problem even further. Instead of sending users to the original source, Google often answers the questions directly on the results page. Even if it sometimes cites the sources, users click on the sources less because they don't need to. From a consumer side, this is often very useful because you don't need to dig into an unknown website with ads to figure out the answer you're looking for.
So if you take a look at that, basically what they're saying is that what they used to do, their game used to be rank on Google search and land #1. But there's some AI stuff going on there, and we're going to talk about that in a second. I want to avoid the AI question at the beginning here because
I was ready to go. I was like,
the only part of the AI discussion that I want to look at is the fact that #1, the very first thing you see when you search for things that they would traditionally rank for is an AI summary, which I'm not worried about the AI summary. I'm worried about the fact that it's not the search result is not the first thing you see anymore, right? And then the second thing is that they then list a bunch of products along the next thing. So it's a whole other carousel that takes up space before you finally, and this is way below the fold at this point, see an ratings.com result. And so what they're saying is that their business model, which relied on a bunch of Google organic traffic and affiliate links, is struggling, partially because the amount of the things that are on the search result page is just huge. It's like google.com has changed when you search for things, right? And these AI overviews and LLMs, they're scraping the data and stuff like that, which we'll talk about in a second. But to me, the first part of the discussion is AI aside, search results are more competitive and harder to compete for because they're pushed down than before. And on YouTube, we've seen this with shorts. So I'm curious about what your thoughts are about that. Like when you see that search result, does that ring true to things you're seeing on YouTube too?
I just have a problem with answering this and talking about it without talking about AI.
I promise we'll get to AI. I
Okay.
absolutely promise.
Well, the reason I bring it up is, of course, like there's going to be less traffic on anything that's being disrupted by the way the search engines are providing information. They used to be a conduit to the site or the destination. Now they are the destination. They are like hard stop, the end, because you got what you needed. Not everything, right? But a lot of things. And I would say more and more. What's nuts is, like there's this whole thing about search and monopolies, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be even bigger. Now, there's going to be other companies because there are, but absolutely. So this person, I don't even know this person, the brand or the business or the site, but I totally feel their pain because it's happening to blog writers.
Yeah.
It's happening to creators to a certain degree, even within the creator platforms. Okay. This morning, 2 videos. I didn't want to wake Judy up. And guess what? I hit the AI button.
Interesting.
And I read the whole thing. I did not watch it. Now I have YouTube Premium, so I don't watch any ads. What I'm saying is, I wouldn't be surprised if that's less credit they're gonna get.
Yeah,
okay?
I think it actually is, because I'm pretty sure it's decided based off of watch time, which is one thing. But again, to me, the thing that I'm looking at here is something like the actual shorts carousels that you get when you're searching, right? Like I think about creators that we know that the whole business model was to rank and then get your stuff on that first search result and have people watch your video and then buy from your affiliate link. That's less possible now, because where your one video was before, you've got like 5, 6, 8 shorts.
Well, okay. So number one, I've talked to creators. They said their affiliates are down, but you know what is up? TikTok Shop.
Oh, interesting.
So TikTok Shop is up, but again, they're folding into the actual user interface and kind of the way that they're watching content or using the platform natively, and then they're getting those sales. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, they're making videos for the For You page, not for the search result page on TikTok, right?
Yeah. And are you trying to like really just isolate to search?
Yeah,
right?
at the beginning here.
I think my point that I'm trying to make too is search is just different. I swore forever. I was like, oh, there's no way kids are going to be searching on TikTok. They absolutely are for everything. Julie's over here shaking his head. Yes. Like, because places to eat, right? Topics, trends, news, information, even just like if they want to learn something, they're going on there. So they're not even going to the regular internet. And then that just spilt over to everybody, I believe. So I absolutely, creators are saying it. And there's a new way for like affiliates to work. So going back to this original example, they're trying to adjust, or they're late to adjusting to this new game with new rules and just kind of like a new user experience. And this is why you can't not talk about AI, even though we're going to talk about it a little bit later, because it is disrupting it at such a high level. More and more, like by the week, I'm like, geez, this is getting crazy. Because even, like, well, for us, again, the opposite of that is what AI can't do, right? And so we're seeing this kind of interesting trend in our analytics, because we didn't ever do short form. We're not on TikTok Shorts or Reels. We do upload that content, but it's not like our mainstay. It's not like the big thing that we create. So in some ways, some of our longer form content is getting even more views, right? Or more average view duration. You just have to recognize that the rules are different. And if you don't, you're going to just see your views go down, or your traffic go down, or your sales or affiliates income go down too, which they are.
Yeah, that's what Ratings is experiencing, which is that they're getting pushed down and therefore not seen as much as they used to. And if they're not seen as much and they had an advertising model before, then they're not making as much money as they used to, which is a problem for their business model, which is why they're going behind the paywall. But of course, as I promised you that we would talk about, and as it's clear that it's really important to this story, AI is a huge piece of this as well. So there's an even darker side to this because of the AI stuff. Usually, can we roll the clip?
The end result is that while it makes some websites like ours appear more often, the actual clicks are down. If fewer people reach the original research, fewer resources flow back to the people doing that work. Over time, that weakens the incentive to produce rigorous, independent testing in the first place. And it's not just us who are affected. Some websites that used to provide real and in-depth journalism insights, like Anantech, have stopped operations. If independent testing labs can sustain themselves because fewer people reach their work, original data production slows down. Eventually, AI systems won't be trained on fresh reviews that actually tested the products. They will be trained on summaries of summaries of summaries. If independent testing fades away, buyers are left with marketing instead of measurements.
So as you were mentioning, AI is pushing down direct search clicks, which is what we just talked about, but also they're directly stealing their traffic because the AI is answering, and they're taking the information that was previously on that page and synthesizing it together with other information and then putting it up, and people aren't clicking through. And so, of course, that's killing all their traffic and affiliate revenue as well. Tell me more about like what you were thinking as far as AI goes.
Well, again, why it's not fair to not talk about it is because before AI was the topic of discussion in terms of what Google is doing in terms of serving your needs when you're going to search, before they were just trying to drive more traffic by giving you enough, right, like information that you might want to click on it and go through.
Yeah.
they were competing literally against ChatGPT, just gave you the information real quick. And people just love convenience. They like speed. They like it right now. And so they're like, you know what? Because it took forever, right? We always said, hey, when are they going to like turn on the Gemini button? And it year and a half, 2 years go by, and they're like, you know what? We just got to do it. We just got to like rip the Band-Aid off and just give the people what they want. We need to become ChatGPT. We need to do exactly what we're doing. See, what they were trying to avoid was basically cannibalizing their whole business model.
Yeah.
You want to talk about who's in trouble? I think that Google, in a way, is in trouble because they have to figure out like,
how do they monetize?
How do we monetize
Yeah.
it? How do we not like get everyone to hate us, right? That's where YouTube's kind of interesting because you still go there for the video itself in some cases, not like information.
Yeah.
If you can just read it. It's funny, like I felt like this is a side note. ChatGPT has made us more readers than ever before. Like we're reading more than we did in the past just because, like the information right away. So I think that there are bigger and bigger percentages of content and including creators who are going to have to start competing or losing against AI. And this is happening in my space, but if it's happening in the content space, which includes some entertainment value, visuals and whatnot, it's definitely happening on the static website.
Yeah.
Where again, why would you even go to a blog, right? We talk about recipes. You want to get the ingredients. Boom, ChatGPT just like makes up the ingredients, okay? And then say you're going to get information about like something happening. Well, maybe you just want a certain list of information. So, right now the Iran war is going on. Well, maybe you don't care about all the little nuances and the, like day-to-day happenings. Maybe you only want to know how it affects oil prices, that affects the economy, that affects your stocks. You can ask these AI tools to give it to you like that. It's like Insta Creator, basically. Okay. You won't get the pretty visual right now, but eventually I bet you're going to, hey, I want The Rock. Okay. Giving me my recipe ingredients and how to's. I don't see that far away. It might feel cringe at first. It might get realistic. It won't ever be like a human doing it. But if it's just enough, it's just kind of like almost like a gimmick. It like just becomes something that's like interesting and entertaining. But what are you trying to get? You're just trying to get the recipe, right? So they just make it a little bit more visually compelling versus just reading. And then boom, they're off to the races. And then the more people use it, the more it fuels the knowledge. Me and Neutrally today, you know what we were doing? Because normally we have a third show we run. On today, okay? We didn't. So we're just sitting here, him and I, like twiddling our fingers. We're like, hey, let's just use Gemini and let's make the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Okay? Because normally it's kind of a back and forth thing. We don't really take it too seriously, but today we sat for like a good 30 minutes and we both were masters at making thumbnails. I'm not a graphics person. He's not a graphics person. And just from a little bit of back and forth, he's using GPT, I'm using Gemini. The thumbnail we used today, he made it on Gemini. He's used it for the first time today. And I was in disbelief. And it's funny because I made a good one first and I like screamed. I was like, whoa, right? I can't believe this. And then he turns around like 60 seconds later and makes an even better one with his first time using Gemini. So that's just one anecdotal example of how AI is serving our needs, right? And that's like, think about this. Canva, that's an editing software. We're not using that anymore. Photoshop, we might not be using that anymore. And the number of other graphics softwares that we don't have to use because the Gemini can do it, right? Nano Banana, that's our image creation tool. That's happening literally across the board. And I wasn't actually a fan of it. I was kind of against it because I like the craftiness of people using like Photoshop or Canva. And I believe that there's still instincts artistically as well that, you can't replicate. But man, it got pretty close today. Like if you compare two of our thumbnails, the one where I have my editor using a graphics tool to do it versus the one that him and I just did, just like from free time using Gemini, mind blowing. So this is why now I'm saying to all creators, you got to pay attention to this. you got to be using it. And if not, like listen to people like us, talk to other people that are AI experts, pay attention to what other creators are doing, because now you're moving faster, you're getting better, and you can create more content than ever before. So there's no way that this doesn't get bigger and better and more of a bigger problem.
Yeah, and I think that what you're describing for like Photoshop and all of these other like applications, the fact that they're getting superseded by AI in terms of like the functionality is also kind of what we're describing about what's happening to ratings here, right? Which is that this is kind of like you were alluding to, this is the end game for text-based publishers. They're going to, this is my theory, they're all going to go behind a paywall. Everybody's going to go behind a paywall because guess what? What's the point of trying to earn traffic if you're just giving your information to the AI, right? Maybe AI will pay like little micro payments each time they go through. There'll be like a toll booth on the internet or something like that. But like when AI hoovers up all your $1 million lab data for free, your only option is to paywall, right? Or die, basically. But there's a twist. You ready for the twist? They're staying free on YouTube because they have a huge YouTube presence. And so this website that has all of this text data that they're putting behind a paywall is still going to publish YouTube videos. And not only that, they're not putting it behind a paywall. They're leaving it 100% free.
Won't Gemini just steal that?
Well, so here's my question. Why is YouTube different for ratings.com as opposed to their blog? I'm curious about what your perspective is. I have an idea, but I'm curious about what your thoughts are.
Well, number one, you can still make ad income, right? So AdSense. Two, if it's not AdSense, it can be premium YouTube users income because you get a little piece of the pie. If somebody that doesn't watch ads, but they pay for that premium service, you get some of that income. And third, you know what's better than reading an answer is hearing an answer from somebody you like, trust, care about, or like. So there's that human element from it. I tell you about one of my favorite geopolitics guy, just walk and talk. My wife Judy calls him the hiker geopolitics guy, right? Peter Zane. Okay, never met the guy. It's funny, like in normal life, I don't think we would be friends. He's not like someone I would go hiking with. But man, I like the way he brings information to me. I like his vibe. He like is very knowledgeable, been doing it for decades. So I'd rather listen to him tell me about the thing versus reading about the thing from like ChatGPT. So the thing about YouTube that a lot of people forget, even though it's happening to them, you build a connection with the creator on the other side. So even when with me just saying, hey, I watched the AI summarization tool and I literally read everything, there's still a lot of value for those people that want it delivered in like a very human way. That's my thoughts. Those three things is the AdSense income, the premium subscribers income, and then the third one being just the fact that you're spending more time with them, so you grow this connection. And guess what happens? You want to continue not only listening and watching their content, you might want to support them by even subscribing to their paid stuff, even if you never go over there. I know that there's some people that do that. They'll literally, like creators, will be like, hey guys, I'm doing this membership thing. I just need more income to make this work. I would love to put out 7 videos a week versus right now I can only do 1 or 2 because I work a day job. There's a lot of people that will pay. I've paid to help support creators I like. That's my thought.
Yeah, and I think the first two are interesting from your perspective, the idea of having AdSense and of getting a cut of the YouTube premium pie, because actually those are more questions to me than they are answers, because guess what? They were getting that ad revenue from like Google ads over on their website before. So it's like, what's the difference? What's actually
value, the expected method of value delivery. So when you go to Google, you expect to go and read something. Typically, if you're going out onto the internet, you're going to their website, you're going to read it, right? Even if you're going to listen to it, okay? Because if you just purely want to watch a video or listen to someone's podcast, you go right to the source, which would be YouTube. So it's a different intention. That's why I'm saying, like, there's more of those people. That's why, like, I'm abnormal that I go to YouTube and I read the summary. Most people don't do that, okay? I just do that because I can, and it's a very limited time of day. Don't get me wrong, 98% of my YouTube consumption is watching the video or listening to the audio, so...
Yeah, and I guess that's why I think the third one is so important that you brought up, which is that the people that you watch, the connections that you make with somebody are why you're watching their video in the first place, is because like we value that connection to someone else. And on YouTube, even more so than in text in an interesting way, you gain a connection with somebody because you can literally see them on the other side of things. Like you connect with the fact that they're showing up on screen and that you can kind of like imagine them in your life to some degree or another, right? And, to me, that's sort of the amazing thing because, we talked about this the last couple of weeks. Shout out to Doc Rock. AI versus YOU is the battle of vowels is the common thing that we bring up on this show. And these people, they're going to have more success. And even like a website like ratings.com, who is like very technical in the way they approach the videos, there's kind of you get endeared to the way that these people carry themselves. Maybe you like their personalities. Maybe you like the fact that they're so thorough. And guess what? I think this is the real kicker. It's entertaining.